kinds of cancers, as well as lung diseases like COPD, emphysema, and also increase our risk of stroke, heart disease, and diabetes. So as again, a lot of us already know, tobacco and alcohol retail outlets or stores are more common in predominantly poor and minority neighborhoods. And a higher density of these outlets are associated with increased use and initiation of these products. And so what we did for this project, which I've just been calling TAG, or just tobacco, alcohol, and grocery, is looking at the locations of these tobacco, alcohol, and grocery outlets across Pulaski County so that we can see where the highest concentration of those are, and look kind of what neighborhoods they fall into and explore these locations that way. And to do that, I used a software called Maptive. It's a very interesting software, has a lot of features that can be used across multiple projects. But for this one, it allowed me to place those locations on a map, as well as see those concentrations through heat mapping, label the points, and see where those clusters fell. So we'll start with tobacco. These black dots here represent all of the tobacco outlets that were identified in the search that I did for tobacco outlets in Pulaski County. And overall, 50 of them were identified. And these were identified through either calling the locations or ensuring that they were open so that we had the most updated information. So of those 50, 10% of those outlets were located along South University, which is 5 actual locations. And 12 of them were located in Southwest Little Rock. And I'm using Little Rock locations because I'm more familiar, and also have a little bit more knowledge of how the communities are set up. So South University, as well as Southwest Little Rock, are a bit more ethnically diverse compared to West Little Rock, which many of us know is less ethnically diverse and typically has a higher socioeconomic status in general, as well as one kind of location that many of us can kind of pinpoint, which is Chenal. So going back to this again, 5 of those tobacco stores were located along South University alone, and 12 were in Southwest Little Rock. And it's interesting because none of those stores are located on Chenal, which is kind of that street that is kind of a gateway to West Little Rock, which again has a higher socioeconomic status for those who aren't super familiar with Little Rock. And 10 overall were located in West Little Rock. So sorry, this slide was actually supposed to be first, but this is just kind of a general outlook. So there are 50 tobacco outlets, 80 alcohol outlets, and 52 grocery stores. And this geographic data was again compiled through calling and searches through Google Maps to ensure that I was getting all of those, and also just to confirm that they were still open. And neighborhood data for Little Rock or just all of Pulaski County in general, is a little scarce. So the neighborhood and regional classifications that I used came from the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau, where it kind of broke down the regions like Southwest and West Little Rock via the streets that they were on. So Southwest Little Rock included Asher, South University, Baseline, Mablevale, and those locations, whereas West Little Rock was Chenal, Shackelford, and more so out that way. So if you'll excuse me jumping around, we'll look back at alcohol outlets. There were 80 that were identified in all of Pulaski County. This actually, the trend is a little different when you consider alcohol outlets and what we primarily know about where they're located, with 22 of them being in West Little Rock, or 27.5%, versus 18 of them in Southwest Little Rock, which again is a more ethnically diverse area. However, when looking at the specific locations, I did find it interesting that although there were only 18 in Southwest Little Rock, there were 5 located off of Baseline Road specifically. And then we're just going to take a quick look at these grocery outlets as well. There were 52 that were identified in Pulaski County. There were only 9 in Southwest Little Rock. And there were only 3 located off of South University. And I think it was interesting that when I was doing the search, the grocery stores that were located along South University, they weren't our Walmarts or Targets or anything like that. They were much smaller and more geared towards specific ethnic groups and things like that. However, when looking at grocery stores, 18 of those grocery stores were in West Little Rock, and 8 of them were located on Chenal alone, which didn't shock me, but it did, it was surprising in a way, because again, if you look at our previous maps, there were so many alcohol and tobacco outlets along or in the Southwest Little Rock area, and there were 8 grocery stores alone in Chenal or along Chenal. And just for a couple of minutes, I want to show everyone what MapDiv looks like. Here you can see the concentration of these grocery stores. Here are all of the ones along Chenal here and leading out to West Little Rock. However, these were the ones that were located in Southwest Little Rock. So it's just a visual representation of where these are so that we can see where they're located and what neighborhoods may need more help or may be more vulnerable. In here, if I can go to it really quickly. In here are all of those points. The yellow is alcohol, the black is tobacco, and the green are grocery stores or outlets. And again, here you can see just how many of those alcohol and tobacco outlets we have versus our grocery stores, and just how that's distributed across Arkansas, or excuse me, Pulaski County. So the next steps for the TAG project are just looking at that initial data, which can help us understand not just what initiatives may be more effective, but where they may be most effective, and which communities may be most at risk or vulnerable. And we can also partner with other organizations and projects that seek to provide that data that we were missing by neighborhood, which, if you'll remember, I said that that data was kind of scarce when it came to specific neighborhoods and demographics and all of that information. And we can also focus on in-place interventions like community gardens, food pantries, and even treatment centers for addiction to alcohol or tobacco in these locations to promote health or increase health and prevention on all levels. And I know I went through that pretty quickly, and this is a work in progress. So I'd just like to say thank you for your patience, and also thank Anise Johnson Rashid, who helped me compile this list. She's a student at VCU, as well as Dr. Fagan for giving me the opportunity to work on this project. And we have about a minute for any questions. And I wanted to ask Dr. Fagan if there was anything she would like to add to this presentation as well, or any information she'd like to give.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sydney. You have been such a great champion in learning these new skills on how to map these things. And we certainly want to make sure that we share this information with the public so that they're aware of the density of these outlets. And we hope that, the information can be also useful to our state legislature as well, who may be thinking about how we address some of these social structural barriers. So, again, are there any questions that people have for Sydney about this wonderful project she's been working on? See a lot of comments in the chat, Sydney. Great job, great
Thank
data.
you,
Thanks for
everyone.
sharing. Insightful, great information. They keep coming.
Good
Thank you,
morning,
everyone.
Dr. Fagan and Sydney. This is Catherine Donald, and I do want to ask a question and make a comment. I am to the point of sitting on the edge of my seat in the space of giddy about your presentation, Sydney, because I am currently having conversations with policymakers with the city of Little Rock regarding how we can have control growth and a moratorium on tobacco retail shops, especially as it relates to vape shops that's cropping up everywhere with neon lights and all the works. And your information would be really helpful and useful for us to really show and spotlight through the data and conversation the problem with tobacco use and retail shops in general in the Pulaski County. So anyway, I'm excited about it. But I do want to ask you, did you connect at all with the Tobacco Control Board to talk about the number of tobacco licensed people or entities that are licensed to sell tobacco in Pulaski County? And what was that number if you did that?
No, ma'am, I actually didn't connect outside of our network with VCU and here at UAMS.
Okay.
However, I think that would be really interesting to add to the project and look at as well. And I'm happy you actually mentioned those vape shops and things like that. In my search for these outlets, a lot of these vape shops actually don't sell tobacco. About 90% of the ones that I called didn't sell any tobacco products. They sold smoking paraphernalia more so. And that is more so what they sold, which I thought was interesting since they are popping up everywhere and they go by smoke shops. However, they don't sell tobacco.
They probably sell nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, they sell a lot of vapes. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
With the play on words, it's a big issue with
And then
nicotine. How people define it, but we know that nicotine is a tobacco product.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's
how
a
they
play on
answer the
words.
question
Yeah.
matters.
Right.
And may I ask you one quick one? I'm going to give everybody a space. In terms of defining your territory to determine it's something that's West Little Rock, Southwest Little Rock. What was your dividing line? City, streets, or because I was curious about nothing on Chanel. That didn't surprise me. However, the number that's classified in West Little Rock in general, was that up Cantrail or Highway 10? And if so, what was the starting point for determining what's West Little Rock and as opposed to East? Was it Markham University? If you did that, I don't know.
So that kind of data for Pulaski County, at least, is a little hard to define because I went through the city of Little Rock and looked, and they didn't have any specific definitions for where, West Little Rock began or ended, or where Southwest Little Rock began or ended. Their general consensus was that West Little Rock was anything west of downtown. So I had to go through the Little Rock Conventions Bureau, who kind of make those event planning websites and, you know, things that we see for events that are going on in Little Rock. And they had their list of different attractions that they had, and by the region that they classified it is how I kind of went through that. So they considered Southwest Little Rock as the streets like Baseline, Mablevale, Asher, and South University specifically, which I thought was interesting because all of it is on University. However, University is divided through North and South.
Mhm.
And there is a pretty stark difference in socioeconomic status along University. So Southwest Little Rock, like I said, was South University, Baseline, Asher, and all of those areas. And West Little Rock was considered Markham, Rodney Parham, Chenal, and all of those areas, which I also thought was interesting. That Rodney Parham and, you know, even West Markham would be considered West Little Rock technically. But that is where I had to get that data from.
Awesome.
Thank you for your
Thank
questions.
you so
Ms.
much.
Donald.
Great work. I love it. And I want to sit and talk with you and pick your brain really soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye now.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry, Dr. Fagan, what were you saying?
Is it time for one more comment? Or we gotta go?
So yes.
Yes, we can take one more comment or
Okay.
question.
I was so I'm Dr. Karen Ladden. I work at Philander Smith University, and actually, ironically, I am doing a study called called African American College Students' Attitudes and Behaviors about Tobacco during COVID-19, the pandemic. And I received an awarded a grant from UAPB Minority Research on Tobacco and Addictions and Arkansas Department of Health. And anyhow, when in my research, I was looking at it, and there was very little research on African American students, traditional or non-traditional, and their attitudes about tobacco and smoking. And so what you have just presented to us, this will be very helpful to my study, which it will probably end like May of 2024. So it would be very interesting to, see what you have and see what I have to kind of see how it can all intertwine. But I thank you for the presentation. This was really good information.
Thank you, and congratulations on your grant, Dr. Lott. I see you had asked for my contact information, which they did put in the chat, so thank you for that. And I would love to connect with you and Ms. Donald and anyone else about what I'm working on with this project. All right, I think we're good. All right, and thank you again,
Sydney.
everyone.
Great presentation, Sydney. You have been doing amazing work in our center, and we thank you for all your hard work. We also have a comment just in the chat. Wonderful and knowledgeable information. Sydney, to see and witness your growth in your field is phenomenal. So keep up the good work, Sydney.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Next on our agenda, we will have a healthy cooking demonstration by Chef Alicia Watson. It is such a great honor to have a celebrity chef to join us for both days of our conference. Just a little bit of information about Miss Alicia Watson of Little Rock. She's the owner of the plant-based culinary wellness food delivery and catering business, Vito and Vera. Chef Alicia won the Food Network competition series Big Restaurant Bet. She grew up in Chicago. And how Miss Alicia got started with her work, she was an occupational therapy, which got her started and inspired her for chefing in the first place. So it is great to have Miss Alicia Watson here. She also was able to do a healthy cooking demonstration yesterday for some of our young people and some of our conference participants yesterday as well. So we thank Miss Alicia for all her wonderful work, and we're excited to see what you have for us.
Hi, you guys, it's Chef Alicia. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm super stoked to let you know what we're cooking today. When they started looking at healthy people in the United States, in the whole world, they noticed that people ate beans every day. So I thought to myself, how am I going to eat beans every day? So today's soup is actually a bean soup. We're going to make it two ways, one with the Instapot and then one in the pot using frozen vegetables. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Instapot, and I'm going to saute my vegetables in there on the saute button. I'm going to add my onion, great, and then a little bit of my garlic. And I'm going to go ahead and start the sauteing process. Not sure why it's showing hot. That's probably not a good thing, but we'll just keep trudging. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my Italian seasoning and kind of let it cook down just a little bit. So the beans that I started with came from Kroger's. It's this 15 bean soup, comes in a bag, $1 something. I soaked it in water for over 24 hours, and you can see it kind of breaks the outer part, and it helps with your digestion of beans. But this is what I started with. It comes with a ham flavoring packet. Do not use that. It's monosodium glutamate, and it's all sodium, but use the beans because they're really affordable. So I'm just kind of sauteing my vegetables in here, and this Instapot we are hoping will cook in 12 minutes. So I'll go from ingredients to a soup that I'm hoping to be able to show you in 12 minutes. So we're sauteing, and then I'm going to add to the mix fennel. And this is what fennel looks like. I've cut it in half, and I've cut the root out. You can see the root's missing there, and the root is there. And I'm just going to put that sliced really thinly in the pot and let that saute as well. I'm going to save the ends or the fronds for plating, but also to put in when I put the grains in. So we've got celery, we've got carrots, and then look at the carrots that we've got, the purple carrots with the yellow inside. Remember yesterday's thought was that the more colors that we see on our plate, we know that we're getting the vitamins and minerals. So we're still sauteing. We're going to drop your carrots, your celery, and then the pretty purple one. And we're just kind of cooking them down. Let's just come on up. Right. And we'll add the fire roasted canned tomatoes in both batches. The batch that we're going to cook on the stove, we're using frozen vegetables that you can keep in your freezer. I bought 3 packs of frozen vegetables, and don't be worried about using frozen vegetables. They're picked at the peak of perfection, and you can always have them in your freezer so you'll never run out. So now you're starting to hear it come alive. I was like, ooh, where is it? Why is it not sauteing? So now it's coming to life, and it looks so pretty. I just have to show you. Looks so pretty on the inside, just with all the colors. And then we're going to add beans and tomato, and that's history. We're done. And then hopefully in 12 minutes we'll be good. So I'm going to let this come up to temperature. And then I'm going to add the fennel as well. And then we'll get started in the other pot. While we're cooking, I want to talk about 5 things that you can do to help your health outcomes that don't cost you any money. The first thing is hydrate, drink water. Just be honest with yourself and say, self, how much water do I normally drink? If the answer is 1, it's not bad. It's room for improvement. But I'd like for you to think that your body is 70% made of water. So when you don't provide water to your system, how is it flushing the toxins? How are you getting, if you're on medication, how are you getting the residual medication out of your body? You're not. So the simplest thing that won't cost you anything is to be mindful about your water and to also say, how can I do better? And I always say, if you can start the day by hydrating, then you can fall off toward the end. Plus, you don't want to drink a lot of water at nighttime because you don't want to wake up all night, go into the bathroom. So that's the first thing that we can do is just hydrate more. Okay, so now you can see it's starting to smoke. Now I feel good. Okay, so it's coming around and even the flavor is starting to come through. I can really smell that. I'm using a little bit of the smoked salt that we used yesterday, using salt and pepper. And I'm happy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add our beans that we've soaked. And I used 1 whole bag. And I'm going to make 2 pots of soup. I would use, if I were you, I'd use 1 whole bag at my house for soup. So I just dumped it in there. Then I've got the fire roasted. Here's a pro tip. Every time you buy canned tomatoes, which are fine, fire roasted. Why? Because that's building flavor even before you open the can. But please know, if you're using a can, you have to cook the can out of it, meaning it needs to cook for about 5 minutes or so to get the taste of the can out. So I just drop that in there. And then I'm going to finish up with the rest of the broth. It's starting to smell good. I always get excited. So, and this is from Sardinia. That's in Italy. And that's totally where my grandparents, Vito and Vera, came from. So this is kind of old school soup. So everything is done. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to pressure cook now. I'm going to pressure cook it. I'm going to say I can do, I'm going to do about 14 minutes. I'm going to seal the deal by putting the top on. I'm going to close the vent. And then we're going to let it just do its thing. And the fact, see, so now it'll go ahead and say it's on, but it still has to come up to temperature. If you don't have an Instapot, you can use a pressure cooker or something like this. If you want to ask for Instapot for Christmas, which would be really good, you can do a delay start. So you can literally, before you go to work, throw all your stuff in here, program delay start. So maybe you want it to start about 3. So when you walk into your house at about 4:30, it smells great and your food is cooked and done. So this might need to go on your Christmas list. All right, so we're going to let this set. And now we're going to come over to the stove and do the same thing, but use our veggies that we went ahead and bought in the frozen food section. So I'm cooking out of a real pot, obviously. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. Remember, healthy fats are not bad. I'm so tired on the internet that you're hearing stuff about that. It's not fat. Healthy fats are good for you. Your nervous system needs fat to kind of work. So let's not be that group that wants to be fat-free, right? So we've got the oil cooking, and we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, starting with our garlic and our onion. Okay. And you see that everything is prepped in these little containers. Did you know that you could do this on Saturday or Sunday? Have this in your fridge and be able to walk in feeling dead tired and still you're watching me throw stuff in there, so it's doable. Don't worry. The special ingredient that I'm using today are our porcini mushrooms, and they come dried. And what I did is I added plain water to them, but you can see all the goodness that's come out of that. This is bringing more flavor. And we always talk about just because you're eating healthy, you should have flavor. It should taste good and you should be satisfied. This is like a trick of the trade. So I'm going to put a little bit in there and let that start cooking. I'm going to use celery, and I'm going to also use kale, but let's talk about kale. So Here's my kale. I clean the kale, as in I go ahead and remove the leaf. I'll put that in at the very end. I use the stem for celery because it's the same texture of celery. And why would we waste the stems? Because we don't want to chew them. But I'll go ahead and just cut them up, just simply like celery, and you'll see same thing. Okay. Yes. Right. And we've got some of the fennel prawns in there. We've got that. I'm going to take the fire up a little bit, and we're just building flavor in the pot. So we'll get it going good, and then we'll drop that in. The pot version is not going to be done in 12 minutes. It's probably going to take about an hour. So see, if you're a busy working mom, it makes it harder when you cook this way. So maybe the Instapot needs to go on your Christmas list. And I want to say, I think that they are probably about $40. And that is a big one. They come smaller. So if you have a smaller family. I'm also going to use celery, and let's go ahead and look at the celery. So we talk about zero waste. We talk about sustainability, and we talk about using whole ingredient to cut our food costs and to have it be cheaper for us to eat good. Here's our waste. That's the only thing that's going in the trash from the soup. We're using every single thing, so that when you see your leafy greens on your celery, you say, money, it's like going to be the top. We'll mix it with our fresh basil and our oregano, and it'll just kind of lay on top. And you see that we're still waiting for that to come up to temperature, the Instapot. You just kind of cutting all this. So the second thing that we can do that doesn't cost any money to help our health outcomes, moving. So this does not mean you're going to go to the gym for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. This can be as simple as making loop-de-loops in your house. If you're an older person and you don't want to walk outside, no worries. Make little loop-de-loops in your house. If you have 3 steps going in it and out of your house, maybe you do that 4 times if you have railings and you're comfortable with that. We're seeing movement, and especially walking, even if you just walk on your up and down your street, as being the biggest correlation for great health outcomes and being more mobile in old age. Doesn't cost you anything to do that. It's not a gym membership. You can get a workout outside. No more do we believe that we have to go to the gym and pound a whole hour. We're finding that short spurts of walking around do just as good. The people in the blue zones where they live the longest don't go to gyms. They walk to the grocery store, they walk to their friend's house, and they go work in the backyard, but they're in better shape than we are, and we pay for a gym membership. So, all right, so let's see what we got going on. So everything is just coming together really good. I've got the onion, the garlic, the celery, kale stems. I'm going to drop the beans in there. And then we've got tomatoes left over from yesterday. Remember when we had the tomatoes left over from yesterday? Well, since we're zero food waste, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split them and throw them in here, because why not? It adds freshness to our already fire roasted. So we'll drop the fire roasted in there. Great. The beans. And you can see they're black beans. There's 15 different types of beans. So if we have to eat beans, we might as well eat all the beans and have it be different. Still not up to 10. Okay. So I'm putting in the Italian seasoning. I've got 2 different types, and it's not really a big deal. It's just whatever your family likes. And we've got that going on, and it looks really good. Just kind of stir it around. And here comes the frozen veggies. And I thought these were so cute. They're crinkle cut, so they look fancy. That's all I'm doing is dropping a bag in. So once again, here we are bringing the money with the colors. And I really want you to focus on that because you'll see the brown food and you'll see people, especially in winter, because everything we cook is so roasted. And this was a bag of stewed vegetables, which they're even chunkier. And I like them. Looks really good. So that was no chopping. That was a frozen bag, and that was like 3 seconds. Have to clean that up. Good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add the broth to it. And I'll just do a little bit. And I have leftover far from our event yesterday. So I'm like, okay, remember we talked about nutrient dense dishes, having a lot of components, more bang for your buck and more bang for the time that you have to put in to cook. We have the same pattern here. We have greens, we have a whole grain. Some of these soups, I'm going to go ahead and do a little pasta in, and then all the veg. So you can see it's kind of one-stop shopping, and we're getting everything we need. Plus, if we make a big pot of this, you can freeze it in the individual containers and be able to take that for lunch. So we'll use the farro in this just because we don't waste. So that's good. Right, everything looks good that way. Just gonna stir it around. And that was super easy, and we didn't have to cut veggies, and they look good. I would love that to come up. Okay. So the third thing that doesn't cost us any money that can add to make a positive health outcome would be to walk away from our phones, the internet, our iPad, computers when we get home and have a moment of connection. I'm just as guilty to be looking on Instagram, to be looking on Facebook and looking at all that. We need to decompress, disconnect from everything, and just kind of relax and return to the life that we once had before all the great things happened with the internet. So that's another thing that you can do just to be present. And I see that a lot with the younger kids now, that present to them is the phone bias. And so maybe you have to have a rule that there's no phone time. Maybe we put the phones in a basket when we come home and we try to connect. And this message is easier said than done. I have an app on my phone that tells me how much I mess around on my phone and where I'm messing around so that I can hold myself accountable, because I have dogs and they do not care if I'm on the internet, but still I need to be honest with myself and try to be better about that. Okay, so we're bringing this up to temp. We're waiting for that to hit still. And everything looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and add the greens to this because this will be my long cooking one. So we'll take care of the kale. All right. Still got the fennel prawns. We'll save that. I brought some basil from my backyard and fresh oregano from my backyard. And if you're not growing herbs, you should grow herbs because herbs are so expensive, but so easy to grow. And you can even grow them in a little pot through the winter. And I like to have my own because it's too expensive. Plus, I'm always afraid that I'll run out. And just like this morning, I went out and picked them. So that's right. So I think the big thing to do is really just to commit to, like I said yesterday, figure out a meal that you can tweak and make work for you that's healthy. We talked about using oatmeal during the winter that's easy, microwavable, and adding fruit. The fruit that we really like to talk about are blueberries because science is now following blueberries with people with dementia and Alzheimer's. They're seeing a cognitive lift in that, yes, they're still declining, but still it helps you. So what I would recommend is go buy the frozen fruits and keep them in your freezer. Buy the instant oatmeal, throw that in the microwave, dump your fruit on there, and then at least you can check off breakfast and say you ate plant-based, you ate whole ingredient, you added fiber, and you added fruit. So you're already ahead of the game. Right, so we're gonna check again, and we're kind of in a little waiting game. We're waiting for the temperature to come up on the Instapot. We're taking the temperature here on the stove up, and I'll add some more greens to this. And you saw that we added the olive oil because, as we spoke yesterday, we're not, if healthy things don't have fat, then we're gonna go ahead and add it. And this is our food waste, so we're here for that. And I try to keep up with that because if I'm saying I'm sustainable, if I'm saying I'm locally sourcing, and if I'm saying I'm managing my waste, then I should be doing that. Okay, leftover tomatoes from yesterday, just cutting them in half. And then I'm gonna throw it in there. And these are the end, it's the end of tomato season. I went to Dunbar Gardens this weekend and they had a few of the yellow sun golds on the vine, and we're out of tomatoes soon. And that's another thing, is eating seasonally. So thinking about, why did it turn on? That's not good. Okay, let me. Okay. To cancel pressure cook, okay. Great, all right. Why did it not go? All right, so I set it for 12 minutes. Apparently I'm up to temperature now, so it's pressure cooking right now. I've sealed the top, so everything should build, and then this little plunger should come up, and it's under high pressure. So we're hoping that in 12 minutes, we'll be able to open this and pull it out for you to see. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, going back to the tomatoes. So we're adding water to our diet. We're moving around a little bit more. We are disconnecting when we get home for a minute and connecting with our family. The next thing that you can do that's found to help health comorbidities is hang around with the right tribe. How much when we were growing up did our parents say, oh, they are not good for you to hang out with? And we were like, oh my gosh, they are the most amazing people. Come to find out, if you hang out with people who support you, who believe in your vision or what you want to do in life, who are working on their own goals, it takes you to another place. Who knew that our grandmas and our grandpas were really right about that? But studies have found that centurions, the people who live to be over 100, hang out with a good group. They all go on little walks, they volunteer, they are more mobile, and the health in the community is elevated. And you've had that friend that you just hang out with when you want to do all the things, and maybe it's not all the good things, but you do have that friend, and that's good, but that doesn't help us in the long run. So hanging out with people who do support you, and I think being seen and heard helps as well, because then I think that increases our values as humans. So we cut our tomatoes. We're going to go ahead and drop that in there. Now it looks super pretty. Just don't know why that's not going up to 10 over there. So that looks really good. I'd like it to start boiling a little bit. I am going to throw the pasta in there. And then, and this might actually get up before that, because that's still hanging out. All right. So we have the farro from yesterday that I'm going to go ahead and drop in there. And then I'm going to stir it around. It just really looks, I mean, it looks good to me. I'm hungry. It's like lunchtime. So cooking this looks so good. And you see the big potatoes that came in that bag? There's nothing wrong with stocking your house with frozen fruit and frozen vegetables. Number one, they're cheaper. Number two, they'll never rot, because how many times have we bought stuff at the store and then you go in the refrigerator and you're like, oh my gosh, how was it ruined already? The frozen stuff will never ruin, and it's always on hand for you to do this. And it's good quality, so you don't have to worry. I'll drop the rest of the garlic in there because garlic and onions have been shown to really affect health outcomes. We're all about that. I don't want it to keep warm. I want it to pressure cook. Okay. I'm going to try to do my best to be able to get that done. Okay, so how many have we done? 4 things. So we're on our 5th thing. We're going to be eating more whole foods. So what that means is we're going to walk away from the boxes and try to figure out how to start with the ingredients that are really the shape that we need. Now, frozen is fine. You can find dehydrated stuff, and that's fine to keep in your house. But opening boxes, the minute we open up a box, everything has ingredients in there just to keep it alive for you to be able to cook with. And it's all the preservation that leads to the bad health outcome. We see more sodium. We're missing fiber every time we open a box because there's no way to put fiber in a box. So you have to eat fruits and vegetables for fiber or whole grains. So if you start off with the actual ingredient, that can help your health outcome as well. And I just want you to know, because I don't think people tell us that we can change our health outcomes. We are not destined by our parents and what previous histories they've had with disease. You might have the genes for something, but yet you can go ahead and change that by monitoring your food, by the mobility that we talked about, staying hydrated. So you can kind of fight that on your own. Right, so we've got our soup going. I'm gonna add a little bit of the pasta to that, and then probably a little bit of the grains. And that is probably not gonna be ready to open for them, which makes me super sad, but we'll see. And I'll go ahead and put the pasta in there. Okay. And I have the little pasta, and that's what I'm just gonna do is do that. And you notice then it can kind of give us the decadent feeling of, wow, I'm eating a little bit of pasta, but yet you're not kicking back, right? You're not putting a whole bunch in there. You're just kind of putting a little, plus we've got our farro from yesterday, so I feel okay with that. I'll probably put a little bit more water in that. I feel like I'm having flashbacks of cooking shows here with it not working. We were just talking about the Instapot and how on the big restaurant that Chef Leo decided to use the Instapot, but he didn't allocate for like what I'm experiencing right now, it coming up to temperature. So his dish was not ready in time. And I was sharing the story before we start filming, and here I am living it. So that's good. We're still waiting for it to come up. We're still waiting for it to come up to temperature and all that. I went ahead and shared the recipe, so you should be able to see the recipes from yesterday's dish as well as the dish today. And there's 2 different forms of the recipe, so you can cook on your own. They will have all my contacts for you at the end. So if you do have a question, you can reach out to me, and I am willing to help with whatever. It's my passion that everybody has access to healthy food, and everybody has the right to eat good, healthy foods and change their outcome. I feel like food is healthcare. So when you do spend a little bit extra buying produce and maybe not driving through, just know that you're taking care of your health care and spending your money there as opposed to prescriptions. So you'll have access to that, and if we can help in any way. So this is looking good. My noodles will be getting done. I'm gonna cook some of this out, get a spoon because I want to actually taste it. Oh, so now it's working. Okay. And you can see now, finally, my Instant Pot is acting right. And the steam's coming up because that button's gonna come up, and then I'm gonna be 12 minutes on the clock for that. So I think we'll be on the very end of that. So it's not as temperamental as it's been seeming. Okay, so I tasted the soup. I think it needs a little bit more fat. I don't have that good fat feeling. It needs salt and pepper, and I'm always using pink Himalaya salt. I don't really care what kind of salt you use. I just don't want you to use the Morton iodized salt. You can go ahead and just use that. This is Morton's and it's pink. So I think that's good. I'll put the greens on that. Put a little pepper. And then our cheat smoked salt from yesterday. I put this in everything because then it's going to give us smoky feeling, and that'll be really great. We'll do a little bit of the pepper. Great. And then I'm going to come on the greens, and then we'll put that in there, and then we'll start cooking. So it looks really good. It's been fairly easy. I haven't really worked that hard, I don't think. I'm happy with everything. I'm going to go ahead and put my greens in there. I'm going to use a little bit of spinach as well as my kale with that. Perfect. And there's no right or wrong. So if you go in your refrigerator and you're seeing different vegetables rotting, throw it in there. It doesn't have to be XYZ. You can actually go to your fridge and be able to just put whatever you want in there. Remember, the biggest thing that we're trying to do is be able to eat more beans. And eating beans every day seems a lot to me because I can't really figure that out. So at least if I have this for lunch, then that gives me up on that. So I'm going to do the greens. And I'll save all this and use that again because I don't really want to waste that. Okay. And now you can start smelling the smells in the kitchen. I was like, oh, finally feel like I'm cooking now. So I'm just going to put it in there. And remember, our greens always wilt. So even though we put it in there, we're like, oh my gosh, is it going to be a lot? No, it's not. You can see they're just going right now. So I'm going to do all these greens. Just started. Okay. So now on my Instant Pot, it's finally up to temperature. It's really pressurizing now. And what it's telling me is that in our time frame, we won't be ready to take this top off. I can go ahead and take it down to 12, and we could try at the very end to try to do that. I'll still have to open it and then put my greens in and add that. But I just wanted to end the whole session with a steamy bowl of soup. So I don't know. I'm doing better on the stove right now than I am on the Instant Pot. So, all right, so everything looks good. I'm going to add a little bit more greens, and then we're done. And if you cook your greens down, you can eat more than if you have a spinach salad and you put this big blob on your plate, and then you feel like you're dying. I'm cooking down a lot, and this is also a good way to hide from kids eating greens. If you chop it up small enough, they don't notice it as much as if you try to get them to eat a salad. No kid wants to eat a salad. Right. So I'm happy with that. And we're just gonna let that kind of cook. Now it's smelling better. So I'm always tasting and I'm always smelling just to see. And then adding more stuff to it. Okay. So we'll wait for a little bit. And what I might do is go ahead and decant that. Release the pressure and then try to do all that just so that you guys can see that, but we're just like 1 minute in. Right, so let's do another trick of the trade. So we talked about hydration. We talked about whole food, adding more plants to your diet. And I think that's a big thing. Vito and Vera's mission is that we want people to eat more plants. We're not using the word vegetarian. We're not using the word vegan. We're saying wherever you are on this whole plant-based journey, do better every day by adding plants to your life. And it's whatever plant you want to do. There's no right or no wrong. Okay, so we talked about moving. We talked about hydration, moving, hanging out with the right people, and disconnecting. And finally, the biggest thing, and this is more than 5, the biggest thing for me is sleeping. I do not sleep good. I know that I'm supposed to get 8 hours. I don't. And it, probably many of y'all, when you lay down, then your head starts going with like the next day's shopping list, or a conversation I had when I was 13, or was I rude to my friend earlier today? So I'm working on having a period of time where I'm kind of getting away from the TV and getting away from my electronics and trying to shut it down so that I can do better with sleep. And I'm always just honest about my struggles. I have a lot, and I'm always striving to do better with them. So, and that's the last of the more than, I guess I have more to talk about than that. Right, so everything is good. Looks really good. And you see how all the greens just cooked down, and it's really a no-brainer now. We'll go ahead and put our fresh basil on top, and then a little bit of our oregano. And we'll just cook that down. And like I said, this is in the backyard. It's not frozen yet. It's still going good, and it just saves so much money. Plus, you could just smell. You just smell so good. Ooh. And fresh herbs, especially in wintertime, make you feel like you're eating something fresh and not overcooked and overdone. So it's good for us to have that. Okay. All right, I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to go for that, for the Instapot, and I'm going to decant it. I'm going to put the greens on it. I'm going to put a little pasta in it, and then I'm going to decant it, because if it kills me, I'm going to have you see the good soup at the end. So I'm going to get my greens prepared. And once again, just thinking about, like we did yesterday, about the people, how are they going to be eating it? What shape should it be? If this was a big chunk, would people eat it? No, they wouldn't. So we're just kind of cutting our greens up small. Yeah, and then I'll smooth that. Perfect. That's doing really good. Okay, so we're gonna go over, I'm gonna do the couscous over here. So we're gonna decant the Instapot. So we have, first of all, we have to go ahead and cancel and turn it off. We have to turn it so that the pressure and the steam comes out. Otherwise, it won't let us open it. The Instapot is smarter than we are. And so right now it's just releasing everything. I'm gonna open it. I'll drop my spinach in there. I'll drop my couscous, which is a little pasta grain as well. You can put whatever you want to put in there, whatever your family likes. If it's macaroni or something like that, that's fine. It's just to make people feel like it's not vegetable food, that it has a little bit of decadence in it. So we'll let this do for a minute, and you can see it's starting to get weaker. And then once this is, I'll open it, and it has a lock. So we just kind of are at the will. And this is why you should never use this on a competition show, because this will be what happens is that you'll be calling for time and you'll be here like this, feeling not so good. So as soon as it's ready, then we'll go ahead and do that. And remember, you guys, so these beans came from Kroger, but I've seen them everywhere. It just makes it so much easier because we're getting the variation of that. Good. So now it's calming down. And then you can see, right, the red part, that if that goes down, then we'll be able to open it. And you can also start to smell it. And that's when you know, okay, did I do a good job or not? It smells really good. I'm going to check on the other. That looks really good. I just think that looks really good, and I think that's super homey. And once again, we've got all the colors. It's gonna cook for a little bit longer after you guys leave, and then it'll be ready to go. I will go ahead and put them in our little deli cup, the smaller ones like this, so I can have individual. I'll put a little bit of the fresh Parmigiana on top and a little herb. And then we'll be done. But that way, if I come home from work and I'm dying, I'm not gonna drive through. And I think that's when we make our mistakes, is when we haven't eaten right and we're just dying, and it's like whatever we can eat. And go back to the whole gas station thing. We don't drive up to the gas station and put diesel in our regular car. Why do we drive up and fuel our bodies not right when we're super hungry? That's a point to think about. And you can see, so right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, let me open it, and it's not. But it is getting less, so that gives me some hope. And you can totally smell the tomatoes right now. Like I'm getting tomatoes. I'm getting a little bit of herbs as well. So. And I want to thank you guys. We're at my house, which is so amazing. And I'm so grateful for Dr. Fagan for having me, and all the UAMS crew have been so amazing to me. But today we're shooting at my house, and I'm just like super comfortable. So I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity, and just be your go-to gal. If you have any questions, just reach out to me, or if there's something that you want to learn about, reach out to Dr. Fagan, ask her to make it happen, and presto changeo, it'll happen. Because you guys are so lucky to have the access to this life-changing information. So as soon as that drops, we'll do that, and then we'll see what it looks like. Hopefully it's not burned or something like that. And then we'll put the greens in there. And just for a minute, we might skip this because I think then we could plate that. So I'll put the greens in there, I'll wilt it, and then I'll go ahead and pull it out and then put some Parmigiana on it. And then we can show you, because like I just had this vision in my mind that this is what, so we're gonna make it work. Perfect. So it's decreasing, which is good. My other soup is on Mega Boil. Let me turn it down. Good. And I still try, because you can't force it. Like I said, it has a child-proof lock. So it's not even letting me go into it. So this is like real-time TV right now. I'll put a little bit of the Parmesan on the bottom. And we'll show you it, and then we'll bring it up to temp, and then I'll send it home with somebody. Okay. All right, so let's see if it'll be magic. Still not. Okay. This is real life, folks. This is what we're trying to do, but I just have this vision, so we want to end with that. As soon as it opens, we'll do that. And if you guys have any questions or anything like that, if I can be of service or help anybody, I'm totally game for all that. My dogs are looking goofy over there. Okay, So now it's starting to turn so that it means that it's almost open, and we'll plate that. And then we'll show them, and then we'll wrap. So it should be happening. I think it's because I talked about Chef Leo at the beginning. This is karma. That should be my next rule. Why? For that. Okay. And you can just. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yay, it's a moment. I feel great now. Okay, so here's our soup. Here's our soup, and I'm gonna go ahead and go out with that. And I'm gonna add this because I want it to be right. And I'm gonna cook it while you guys are learning other things. Okay, we'll drop that couscous in it. Right. I'll give it a stir. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more of that. Right. All right, so I'll drop that back in there. I'm gonna put 2 minutes on this. If it lets me. Maybe I'm not doing anything. Maybe I'm not doing anything. It's not. This is real life struggle. See y'all. I mean, and I'm supposed to know how to do this stuff. So I'm just doing 2 minutes and that's it. But otherwise, you guys follow the rules, do the best for you. Take care of your family, and the mamas put the food on the plates, and let's just change health outcomes. I saw in an article that we're 49 out of 51, and that's not good. So change your plate, change your life, and food is healthcare. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chef Alicia. This has been truly a wonderful, wonderful demonstration. I know you've inspired all of us to get in the kitchen. And I know we are all pretty hungry. So thank you again for your healthy demonstration. And I feel like this recipe is so timely for the time of year that we're in, fall and winter coming up. So thank you so much. I do have a question. I see on your website that you do catering. Do you also provide any meal plan options as well for people?
We do meal prep and we do meals to go at Vito and Vera. So you can see on our website, we do offer that. You can order on our site and we deliver to your home on Sunday. So generally our orders close on Thursday. We get all of our produce from farmers. So we get it from our farmers, we cook on Saturday, then we drive it to your house on Sunday morning. So yes, we do.
All right. Do you want to introduce any of your social media outlets so we can check out your pages and get more information?
Sure. I am on Facebook under Vito and Vera and on Instagram as well. We're going to go ahead and attach the QR code. We've got that information so people can follow us. We do a lot of events. We're all about the community. This weekend, we did a bike race where we fed people plant-based items. Monday and Tuesday, we've done this with you. And then Thursday, we're doing a tasting menu at Community Bakery. So we're always in the community. We're always just showing people that you can eat healthy, but still really indulge and have a good life and still take care of your body.
Right. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any questions?
You said
I see
community
in the
bakery
chat.
Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
A community bakery on Thursday. Is that what she said she was going to be?
can't hear what she said.
Were you gonna be in?
Oh, the community bakery on this-
Oh, the community bakery event, that is this Thursday. And there are tickets left for that, and I'm doing 3 different courses. So, I'm making a turmeric coconut soup because we know that turmeric is anti-inflammatory. I'm doing, scallops made out of mushrooms. And then I'm making a traditional seafood paella without seafood. So that's what's going on, but definitely follow us on Instagram. And like I said, we're always out and about doing great things because we're passionate about helping the community and just educating in a super transparent, reachable way, so that you can learn from us and have fun with us.
Hey, thank you so much. And I see in the chat, we have your Instagram page as well as your Facebook page. So feel free, everyone, to copy those links to her social media platforms.
Right, and you can always just email me, Alicia@Vito and Vera. And if there are any faith-based groups who want to really bring something like this to the church, that's the best way to connect with everybody, that we can get together, we can cook a pot of food, and then we can have a conversation. So just always reach out to me about any kind of opportunities or any way that I can help.
All right. Thank you so much, Chef Alicia.
All right, thank you guys so much. And Dr. Fagan, thank you for thinking of me and inviting me. And I've just had like the best time.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. I hope everybody really enjoyed that demonstration. I know I did. I always say this time of year is soup season. So all your soups, get all your soup recipes together and just cook it up for the family. So now we are toward the end of our Community Health Impact Conference. I just want to reintroduce myself if I didn't earlier before. My name is Sandalyn Bullock. I'm the project director for the Center for Research, Health, and Social Justice Project 2, Fresh Delivers. And again, I just want to thank everybody for joining our virtual conference today. I hope that we are ready to make great community impacts in our community, whether it's gardening, food security. So I hope everyone has gotten the information that they needed and are encouraged to join community gardens. Also, I would like to give a special thanks to our planning committee, which consists of Ms. Sydney Baker, Ms. Michaela Beard, Ms. Sandalyn Bullock, Ms. Colette Cohen, Mr. Xavier Chapman, Dr. Gloria Rashad Davis, Ms. Kenya Eddings, Bishop Fred Harris, Mr. Bruce James, Mr. Derek Lewis, Ms. Trina Mitchell, Ms. Aliyah Orloff, Ms. Angela Shaw, Ms. Elizabeth Taylor, Reverend Willie Wade, Ms. Cherie Lawson, and Mr. Richard Tatum. So, and our co-chairs, Dr. Pebbles Fagan and Reverend Gregory Nettles. Thank you guys so much. Also, a special thank you to our volunteers, the Arkansas Cancer Coalition, as well as Philander Smith University, and our wonderful thanks also to the Winsong School of Performing Arts, the Lamb Foundation, Lowe's, and the Root Cafe, as well as Juice by Favors. I hope everybody got to really enjoy the juices yesterday. I know I did. So thank you to all our wonderful vendors and sponsors for the conference, and all of our speakers and presenters as well. And I also want to thank our sponsors, which is the Center for Research, Health, and Social Justice, the Arkansas Cancer Coalition, the Little Rock Chapter for Links Incorporated, Philander Smith University, and Rethink Justice as our sponsors. And now I will turn it over to one of our co-chairs, Reverend Gregory Nettles.
Hello, and thank you so very much, Ms. Bullock Sanderland. You've done a wonderful job. Thank you to all of those that are on today. I know that you probably, I can't see you, all of you all, but there is some place down on your thing, on your Zoom, it's called reactions. You can like raise your hand, click on reactions and give her a clap, or at least give her some finger snaps or something like that. Not finger snacks, but finger snaps. That'd be a good thing to do. So we're excited. Thank you again for the opportunity to be a part of this and to serve along as a co-chair with Dr. Pebbles Fagan, who's my hero, how wonderful you are, and to all of the people that support, to those of us that's been doing this for a little bit, and for those of us that are learning how to do it. So we appreciate you and the opportunity that you've given unto us to learn and to sit at your feet. So we're excited about that. Today has been exciting. Yesterday was great. I was wondering how were we going to do better today, but yesterday was great. Today was greater. And so the next time that we come together, it's going to be the greatest. So thank you to those presenters today. I'm looking at my notes here, and I want to say to the young farmers, man, you guys are awesome. You set this thing on fire. There's a phrase that I use sometimes that I would say, make my baby leap. You guys made my baby leap today. I'm not even a farmer. I don't like to plant. I don't fish. I don't hunt. I don't plant. But you just got me inspired today to get up out of my chair and go out and get me some fingers. For those that were there yesterday, inside of your bag, there are some gloves. I would encourage you, and there's some nice leather gloves. Get those gloves, and put your fingers in the gloves. Now they may not fit every size, but maybe go to Walmart, or maybe go to somewhere. If you got a Lowe's gift card, you can go to Lowe's and get you some gloves and just get your fingers dirty, because what we are experiencing is a renaissance. The idea for this is because of things that are going on around us, and things that are happening in our society are causing us to look to our ancestors and see how they made it. And so I want to challenge all of us to reach out to find someone and say, look, let's go out and walk around in the yard. Let's try to figure out what this is, and maybe even take the ideas of vacant lots and investing into your community. And if they're in your neighborhoods, there are a lot of vacant lots. It doesn't take hard to find out the information about how to get in touch through the various public places like the city or maybe the county, and see who owns that land, and then be able to find out from them. Because most of the time in our communities that you see vacant lots, it's because it's air property. And because of it being air property, someone has walked away and forgotten all about it. They made a commitment on the Great Migration when their family left from Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, and they went north to Chicago or went west to California, and they left the land here and said, we ain't coming back. We done. We're not going back down south no more. So that land has now gotten into a position where it has become air property and people don't want it. So find out, if you can, how to go about and getting that property. But thank you again to all of those, to Sydney for a wonderful job. I was looking at your map. That is eye-opening. It was absolutely eye-opening to see all of that information today. And to the chef, man, I tell you what, do not put your address in the chat. Don't do that, because see, you'll find people there'll be a line of folks out at your house and be trying to learn how to do all of that stuff. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience on yesterday. I put in the chat today that the young farmers were talking about USDA. Well, on yesterday, we had the senior advisor to that organization, to the USDA, and he was here. And so for those that did not get a chance to experience what Dr. Goldman shared with us, I don't know if it was recorded or you'll be able to go back and view it, but he answered a lot of questions, and was even everything that we heard today was almost a repeat of yesterday. So we had a wonderful time with that. My effort here is that it is 12:24, and I'm supposed to finish in 6 minutes. I got 6 minutes. So Dr. Fagan, I see you on there. So when my time starts to get close to it, just kind of throw your hands in the air and wave it like you just don't care. And so that I can know, yeah, there you go. That's right. That's right. Also, my highlight from yesterday, can I tell you, it was the juice. My. I enjoyed that juice. That was my own personal highlight. I felt a little tip in the juice. Praise the Lord. But anyway, today I want to close with this, the message of the speaker, and offer some information about some next steps in the program. I wrote this down, and it was kind of like a statement. And it says, the question was, what is food? To me, that was the pointed question of today. What is food? And that food is we're looking for food security, food sustainability. That food is a spectrum. There's an enterprise, there's security, there's justice, and there's sovereignty. And what I heard some people say today, that was said on yesterday, that we're not only in a food desert, we're in a food swamp. But not just the physical food. I heard them say it's spiritual food and it's physical food. And so we want to encourage those that have been on the line to feed your soul. There's a book that came out not too many years ago called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Well, I want to encourage us that what we can take from this opportunity today, that number one, you've been given the tools, the toolkit, and the resources to make something happen. And we are the ones. Former President Barack Obama said, we are the ones that we've been looking for. I put a quote in the box earlier today, in the chat earlier today, that says, all that we have is in the room. We have given you, this conference has given us connections and opportunities to be able to connect with people. And so we had a lot of people take a lot of different time to sowing seed, sowing seeds of love, sowing seeds of joy. And now it's time for us to reap from this, because the harvest is plenty, but we need laborers now to be able to go out and make this happen in our communities, in our homes, in our cities, in our counties, in our neighborhoods. That if the thought comes to you to do something different, trust and believe that what has been given to you is an idea, and then believe that you will be connected to people that can go along and make it walk with you. Like on yesterday, there was some great networking going on. There were people that were just talking, and all of a sudden they realized that there were situations that they were dealing with and someone else was dealing with in another area. And they said, well, what are you doing there? What are you doing there? Why don't we collaborate? You know, collaborate is a great word. Compromise is a great word. These are not bad words. So I want to say thank you to all of you all who've participated. Sandalyn has already gave that list, and I dare not try to repeat it. And so, as a friend of mine says, I want to thank Lottie, Dottie, and everybody for what you brought to this opportunity today. Because if you start calling names, you'll forget, and somebody go like, he didn't call my name, but that's okay. I called your name when I said all y'all. So I want to thank you for being a part of this, for being a part of this opportunity, and for being able to take from this this time. Time is one of the most important commodities that you have. Don't waste your time. And so by you being on this Zoom today, by also being a part, being in present on yesterday, is not a waste of time. It was not a waste of your time. So you are more than what you think you are, because there is more in you. And so we believe in you. That's why Dr. Fagan brought this team together, and because we believe in her leadership, and we believe in her sharing the vision with us and saying everybody has a part to play, that all of us are just a spoke in the wheel, but we're being driven by a power that is beyond our own understanding and comprehension. And so I want to encourage us that what you learned from this past couple of days, a day and a half, take it, go find somebody that you met on the line today, we are a community. We are one. We are connected and we are interlocked together to make this thing happen. And so you bring a vital part to that. Dr. Fagan, I hadn't seen you holler yet. So go ahead. I hadn't seen you do like the man said, throw your cap in the hair. And then so we all can run and give you some help. So it's been inspiring. It's been environmenting. It's been invigorating. It's been like a vitamin today. On yesterday as well, a vitamin to get to meet people in the fellowship. I got some cards that I want to put in my phone and contacts so that I can reach. But then also, the information that you get is not for you. It's for you to meet someone else and to share it with them, because someone should have been on this line. And you all know how it is when you go to an event. In our culture, you go to an event and you leave and go like, man, I wish so-and-so would have been there. Go tell them that whenever the Center for Research, Health and Social Justice is doing something and the flyer comes out, let that be the first thing that you do, because you never know. You may be the one that gets the first one that signs up. You might get a prize. You may get something. You may get a gift card. You never know what God has in store for you. So I want to say thank you again. I'm looking for my clock. Hold on. Let me see what I got. My time is up, and I thank you for yours. Dr. Fagan, it's all yours.
Yes, Reverend Nettles, I just want to add one more thing. Everyone will be receiving a evaluation form to your email. So please fill out that evaluation form. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your feedback from our conference. So be on the lookout for that email. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sandalyn. The email is on the way. Make sure that you check when you get it. If you don't get it in the next couple of days, check your spam. It's on the way. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. I saw you yesterday and I appreciate you. And I sent you an email with something on it. So I'll be looking for that. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and afternoon. Have a good weekend, a glorious time, and enjoy the weather that's going on, because it may change. You never know. God bless. See ya. Team, you can drop the mic on this one. Oh, by the way, when we're going to have the after plan? Where's the walk-off music? Come on, Bishop. Where's the music, man? Where's the music? There it is. If you can, open up, come out of your box. Come out of the box. Turn your camera on. Let us see your face. Come on. I see you, Miss Connie Biddle. Let us see your face. I'm going to start calling some names on some people. Shalonda, you got a gift card yesterday. You need to be showing your face. I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I'm going to tell your business. God bless, team. Have a wonderful. I'm out.
I'm signing off, y'all. Take care.